Try to imagine this. You uproot your family, leaving parents, friends, customs, support systems, all behind you. You move to another country where everything is different, including the language. Maybe you do this to seek a better quality of life, or perhaps you've come to join a family member. Whatever the reason, you arrive packing a few suitcases and a lot of hopes and dreams. Here in Simcoe County, the option of more affordable housing, excellent health and educational facilities, and numerous recreational opportunities is resulting in an influx of immigrants to the area. They see Simcoe County as their home away from home. Nowhere within Simcoe County is the increase in the immigrant population more apparent than in the town of Bradford, West Gwillimbury.
I would say the majority of our population is an immigrant population, not from one particular ethnic background, but from several different ethnic backgrounds. The fact that Bradford is so close to Highway 400 into Toronto and Barrie, it's a little bit more affordable than Toronto. A lot of people are moving up here.
Oscar and Denise Bertoldi reside in Bradford. That's a long way from where they first met, that being the National University of Colombia. It was their love of music that really brought them together. Both were members of the university choir. After graduation and their subsequent marriage, Oscar was employed as an electrical engineer, while Denise, Dr. Bertoldi, worked as a psychologist. Life seemed good in this tropical paradise. They owned a car, an apartment, and were surrounded by lots of family, including a baby daughter they named Alessandra. However,
you never know when something's going to happen to you. You start thinking, oh, all the members of my family have had some kind of violent robbery, or they have been suffering something. Even ourselves, like myself, I got robbed some couple of times during my life. My car was tried to be stolen 3 times.
I got my earrings, pull from my ears when I was walking the street in Bogota.
While sitting on a park bench with her baby, a stranger approaches Denise and tells her that she should leave and that someone may kidnap her baby. That was the final straw for the Bertoldis. It was time to leave the country.
We knew that we have to look for a better place to live, more peaceful place to live. And not knowing what we were going to find was the hardest part. Leaving our families, leaving our roots, leaving our friends, our costumes.
Of course, the tropical climate that we have no seasons in Colombia. We have fruits and vegetables all around the year. We have no snow.
3 years later, the Bertoldi family arrived in Canada, bringing with them a lot of hopes and expectations. Unfortunately, Oscar's vision of what would transpire in this new country did not unfold as planned.
My plan was 3 months learning the language, and after 3 months I will be able to find a job related. Maybe 1 year, 2 years I will be back to engineering. We started studying English. I realized that English is not something that you learn in 3 months. It took longer than I was expecting. The money ran out maybe after 3 months too. I was kind of desperate.
For Denise, the realization that she would not get work in her field right away did not stop her from moving forward.
I had to work for a couple of years selling flowers at Walmart, and also my husband, he was struggling in an assembly line when he started working, and he's an engineer too. But for me, it was like we have to do what we have to do.
Frustration mounts for the Bertoldis as they try to connect with their community.
You talk to the neighbor, and the neighbor doesn't talk to you because you don't know how to speak. They try to make a conversation, but you're not able to really get back to them in the way they expect. So they might think, oh, this guy is kind of dumb. You don't talk, you're weird.
Despite all, the Bertoldis were determined to make good in their new home. However, the worst possible scenario was about to happen.
They found out that I had breast cancer.
I feel like, oh, okay, by myself here, I might lose my wife. I might be myself with my daughter here. And really, the work that I'm doing right now is not the best, and you have no support, you have no family around. It's hard. That's when you think what I'm doing here.
Being somewhere that you don't know what you're doing, and you know you're so young, and just to think that your mom might not be there, it's just really hard.
11 years after their arrival to Canada and 9 years since Denise's cancer diagnosis, things have improved for the Bertoldi family, including their English. Oscar has a job in his field of expertise, and opportunities for Denise to work in her profession have also been opening up. Alessandra is a gifted child excelling in music. The Bertoldis have reason to sing.
I feel so proud, you know, and it's amazing when you think about what they had to go through and hearing all the stories from their point of view, and you realize that it's not easy, and you know, I feel really lucky that they went through that so that I wouldn't have to.
I have to say after 11 years that I never would change the peace that I found here in Canada for anything in the world.
When you think of the YMCA, certain images may come to mind, probably not images associated with services geared towards supporting and assisting new immigrants to the community. But that's exactly what this Barrie branch of the YMCA does.
It's something that people from around the world recognize. They see the Y, they remember the Y in their own community, so coming to the YMCA becomes something that really makes sense and is a comfortable place for them to begin to start their journey in Canada.
Javid Jabri is hoping the YMCA newcomer service will help him in his journey to find work in his field.
I came from Iran. I was a graphic designer in there, and I am teacher for graphic design. I came here for better life and learning more English.
So how can I help?
For a newcomer coming into the service for the first time, it all begins with a settlement counselor.
Well, they will look at anything and everything that newcomer needs to help them be a success in Canada. Perhaps they just need some help filling out forms and they can move on. Perhaps they just need help with, you know, a referral to schools or a job agency. Or perhaps they want to take part in some of the programs we offer here at the Y.
I have some conversation questions that I want you to go through with your groups.
One of those programs includes free English classes from level 1 to level 6. Free childcare is also offered.
Not only do we provide them with the language that is needed to survive in this country, but we provide them with so much more than that. We provide them with a community here, a sense of belonging. We teach them about the history of Canada. We teach them how to live here. We teach them about the culture of Canada. And we create a family.
It's good for me to take my daughter to come here so I can have a good place, good care in the next door.
Our helping them just makes our whole country stronger. They want to be here. They want to work. They want to own a house and pay taxes and be a contributing member. And we're just a small part of helping them get started on that journey.
Another difficulty for people who have adopted a new country arises when an event, celebratory or tragic, happens in their former home, which for them is now half a world away. On November 8, 2013, the largest typhoon ever recorded roared through the Philippines, killing over 5,000 people, displacing more than 4 million. Meanwhile, over 13,000 kilometers away, on a wintry November night in the city of Barrie, the community gathered. They gathered in support and in aid of their Filipino neighbours, with over 1,000 families now living in Barrie. Though their homes may be here, their hearts, at least for now, are far away. Lonnie Zaffarella has been living here for the last 5 years, working as a live-in caregiver. A portion of the money she earns goes back to her family in the Philippines, whom she has not seen since coming to Canada. Most of her family lived in the direct path of Typhoon Haiyan.
This tragedy really made me realize how important is my family and my relatives, because 85% of my relatives lives in that typhoon area, and most of them are safe, and I lost some cousins, and still some of them are missing. Imagine that they have no food to eat, they're homeless. So I am just so thankful that this kind of gathering will really be a big help.
The outpouring of support was amazing. And then you look behind me on a blizzard night, winters arrived here in Barrie, and we still packed the room up.
The privilege that we have had to choose Canada as our home. It's a privilege and wonderful. We love it to be Canadian and should be proud of it, as I am.
Tributes flowed from around the world with the death of South African leader Nelson Mandela in December of 2013. Meanwhile, Annika Breed, a transplanted South African and Barrie shop owner, decided a memorial service for Mandela in her own community would be appropriate, given the number of South African families now living in Simcoe County.
We have a really big community of South Africans in Barrie and also South Simcoe area. And they go all the way from like Owen Sound to Perry Sound to like Midland, Midhurst, Innisfil. We're all over, just scattered.
There is a very big community, including my friend Oneka Breed, the one who hosted this event, and she works very hard to unite all the South African community, which is a very good thing. Not so many people can do that.
The whole community has been touched by the death of our great leader, Nelson Mandela. We are coming together to try to mourn as a family together.
It's nice in a moment like this when you feel that like you're so far away from home and your family and wanting to be there. It's nice to be here and have that community of South Africans where we can be here and hug each other today and be there for each other and celebrate Nelson Mandela's life together.
Lala Alassaad came to Canada from Syria to join her Syrian husband, Mohammed, who was already living and working here. They were married in Syria in 2009 and are currently living in an apartment in the city of Barrie. In 2010, Lala returned to Syria to show off her new baby boy named Ayman to her family. She stayed for 2 months, heading back to Canada just as the Syrian conflict was about to erupt.
Every day we watch news, what's happening there. It's really hard, because all my family right there, my husband's family too. It's hard because I can't go and they can't come, so that's really hard for me because I need them,
Adding to an already anxious situation, one of Al-Assad's brothers, a surgeon at a Syrian hospital, was kidnapped by Syrian rebels.
They were asking for money. And after 3 months, when my father just paid the money, he came back, but in really bad situation. But at least he's alive. Sometimes when I was calling them, talk with them, so I can hear the sound for bomb or for the gun. So that was for me, it's really hard feeling. No place they can go. And when he was crying, it's really hard for me because I didn't hear him crying before, so that's really hard for me.
We sit on the carpet.
I miss you.
Currently, Al-Assaad is trying to obtain a visa to bring her mother to Canada, This is her third attempt.
It's been heartbreaking. We have written letters. We have contacted our MPs. We have done everything that we could possibly think of to get her mom over here, but Lala continues to hear the word no and no and no and no, and we've not heard a yes yet.
I'm waiting. A lot of people help me for the application, support me, and I hope she will get the visa and come here. My son asked me about his grandma all the time. Grandma, but it's really hard feeling for me.
A rural lifestyle can be an appealing one. However, for an immigrant living in this kind of a setting, it can be a problem. Isolation for many families can be a huge issue, especially for a woman.
Actually, why don't we go around and everybody introduce your name, where you've originally come from, even if it's Toronto.
Second language teacher Yvonne Conrad seems to have found a partial solution to the isolation factor for immigrant women living in the Alliston area.
We need to do something for women. We need to provide a lunch, a get-together for them to have a time to make friends, to network, to have a community of their own. And out of that, 1 month later, we started hosting a lunch here. We cooked the food and invited all the immigrant women that we knew, and we had 28 women come to our first meeting.
I've been here for 5 years, and I brought my 2 kids here.
Called Ladies Lunch, Laugh and Learn, the event is held once a month at the Gibson Centre in Alliston. The lunch hosts new immigrants and Canadian women, as well as guest speakers offering advice and inspirational stories for all.
So I started digging a little bit deeper and looking at my own core values.
For a Japanese woman to be speaking with a Spanish-speaking woman, that's a great thing, because that would never happen in Japan, for example. It's integration at a grassroots level.
This lunch helps me to learn more about other countries, to know more, to have more information about places that we can get to help us as immigrants. I don't feel rejected or isolated, like I'm just by myself. No, I feel more comfortable, having someone to talk.
Women will walk with their children to school. They'll say hello at the bus stop. They'll say, how's the weather? Nice day. But they won't get invited back to a Canadian person's home. The most simple thing you could do would be to talk to women. Believe it or not, there are immigrant women who will go to a grocery store simply to be able to say hello to the cashier, just to have that connection, to be able to say something to someone during the day.
For Russian-born Ina Bakalova, her someone is her Canadian husband. She met him through an international dating service.
I'm lucky to meet my husband. I choose my husband over Canada because he's Canadian, and I got both.
Regardless of where you come from, we all need each other. Every woman needs a friend. It doesn't matter what country you've come from. It's happening, it's a success, and I'm happy that I can be a part of it.
If you can't come to them, they'll come to you. That's the idea behind the Welcome Centre Immigrant Mobile Unit based out of York Region.
The goal of the mobile services is to increase service delivery to the clients in areas that are underserved or where there's geographical barriers because of transportation for clients to get to the existing services.
Tonight the mobile unit is at the Aurelia Public Library, where with the help of other local service providers, they offer assistance, guidance, and support for new immigrants who are trying to get through the maze of information and resources as they settle into their new home.
And where are you from?
Oh, I am from Ecuador, South America.
Right.
I am a South immigrant with my husband. We came to Canada 7 years ago, and we did not know that such services existed, so we had to do everything on our own. Doing that kind of job and seeing that we're helping immigrants a lot, linking them with the community services and giving them this kind of service, like if they need information regarding how to apply, where to apply, and how to find the job or how to find the housing, that is, for me, it's a huge thing.
C for Canadian term.
I come from Beijing, China. I think this is all about the Canada about. It's all very diversified, and we can learn different cultures. It's very interesting. I just hope there's more this kind of activities make me feel belong here. This is difficult for me in the beginning.
One of the themes of the local immigration partnership strategy is aimed at celebrating the cultural diversity that immigrants bring to our communities, while at the same time exposing them to our Canadian culture, for in the end, everyone benefits.
I want to meet my father. This is Ying-Ming, and he just arrived in Canada in June. And I'm going to ask him a question and let him answer my questions. What's the hardest thing when you come to Canada? 就是讲你到加拿大最困难的事情是什么？
主要是语言不通了。
Most difficult thing is language barrier. That's what he said.
Though Ying-Ming may be a long way from his homeland of China, he has brought with him some of his Chinese culture and heritage to Canada.
Currently, he's working on paper cutting. It's a very traditional Chinese art. Originally, it's for the occasion of the wedding or the New Year celebration. So most of them is in red. In China, red is happiness, like festival. He worked lots of things representing Chinese ancient history.
While on a visit to Canada in 2003, Ying-Ming designed and cut the logo for Barrie's Dragon Boat Festival, which he gave as a gift to the organizers.
We are looking at the leaves in a little picture frame. Those are the new ideas from my father. He found those leaves and felt it could be a way of Canadian paper cutting, leaf cutting. And he thinks this is perfect connection from Canadian to Chinese. Put them together. It's a multicultural connection. This is everything to him. It's his life. He could be staying there for like 5 hours not moving, and he wants to keep this going, so he's taking kids, like teaching the students here too.
This is the only Chinese church in Barrie. Therefore, it's very important for the church to play an important role to serve the Chinese in Barrie. Many seniors, when they first came to Canada and live in Barrie with their children, they have no place to go. So we as a church here, we organize a lot of programs for the senior to get them together, and they have lunch, they have exercise together, and also, of course, to learn the Word of God together.
We have a similar background, so easy to communicate, easy to know each other's need and thinking. Very good feeling here.
Lots of Chinese people here, they are highly educated and very highly talented. We would hope we have more opportunity to show our talent and to demonstrate what we can do, so we can do more for our home here, Barrie, Simcoe County.
Do you guys have our menu?
Alba Lisa's business sense kicked in at a very early age. Owner of Alba Lisa all-natural Mexican food in Alliston, her business savvy started with a particular guava tree which her father had planted on their property in Guadalupe, Mexico.
And I used to climb the tree and get the guavas down for my brothers and sisters because they didn't want to climb the tree. So soon I realized that I could do some business with it. So I started selling the guavas to my brothers and sisters, and strange enough, they paid me for the guavas.
But it didn't end there. She literally stepped it up a notch.
And I climbed higher, and I brought a pillar with me and a salt shaker, some salt. So I would climb really high and charge my brothers and sisters, and later on my cousins, I would charge them more for the guavas because I was climbing higher. Okay, estos van a tener cebolla fresca y cilantro también.
And the rest is history, so they say. After completing university in Mexico, she became a music and Spanish teacher, teaching overseas along with her Canadian-born husband Ted, but always with her trusty tortilla presser and kilo of flour in tow.
I would teach women from all over the world to make corn tortillas and Mexican food. I would do that every year, twice a year at least, with big groups of people.
Alba's tortilla passion eventually found her and her husband in Canada, running a Mexican food store in Alliston. She also supplies more than 70 cafes and restaurants throughout Ontario.
We started at this commercial kitchen that was shared, and we had a little space, and I started with only a press to make one tortilla at a time. I was cooking the tortillas by hand, and now I have my machines, I have a great team, I have my own place. So it's been amazing, and we continue to grow.
In 2013, Alba Lisa was on hand for the first ever Newcomer Recognition Awards hosted by the County of Simcoe. Alba Lisa All Natural Mexican Food received the award in the category of Culturally Diverse Workforce.
I wanted to have my kitchen full of people from all over the world, from different places, and give them the opportunity, to grow with us as a business. So out of the 12 employees that I have, 10 are from different countries.
From a guava tree in Mexico to tortilla chips in Alliston, Alba Lisa has literally come a long way.
Thank you very much.
It's all about chasing the Canadian dream for these Junior A hockey players. It's the ultimate ticket, the rainbow's end, making it to the big show, the NHL. Proving one's self-worth at the Junior A level is the path to that end. But it's not only Canadians who are chasing this dream. Meet Barrie Colts goalie Daniel Gibble. The 18-year-old recently arrived from Slovakia, and he's looking to solidify a spot on the Colts roster. Despite the fact that he can understand or speak very little English, nothing stands in the way of his ultimate goal.
It always has been my dream to play hockey in Canada since I started playing in my country. Definitely has been a language barrier since I came to Canada. The knowledge of English since I came to Canada was pretty weak. I could hardly understand my team players and coaches.
Everything's good to the outside, good positioning, good depth, right? Top of the paint and the white ice. It's working well. He's a great kid. He works hard every day. I mean, the English is a bit of an issue, but not really so much. He speaks hockey very well, so we're able to communicate as far as goaltending goes and techniques and speeds and aspects of the game. If he doesn't understand some of the words I'm using, I'll choose different words, simpler words that he may understand, and give and take, a lot of hand language, the hand signs, I should say, and it's not as complicated as you would think it is.
Definitely I'm getting homesick and I think about my family quite often. We are really a good family in our team. My teammates help me a lot. I think there are pretty good chances for me to make it to NHL. There are scouts at every league match. I would do anything in my powers to impress those scouts. I really would like to play one day in NHL.
Gibble was pleased to be speaking again in his native tongue, thanks to our Slovak translator. And as far as his favorite Canadian experience?
I love Tim Hortons.
It was a very hard journey for me, and I think it's hard for everybody who decided to leave their own countries or their countries of origin and change their culture, their language, their lives. But maybe that change could be positive.
They've chosen to come to Canada, so I think that's a wonderful thing for our country because they've identified something here that really made them come here. Their heart told them to come here. These people were leaders in their country. They chose to give up everything that I don't think I could choose to give up. We are a melting pot, so it would be nice for all of us as a whole to embrace these wonderful, wonderful people that have chosen to come here.